Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football channel for the first of 3 videos in one day. When you're feeling a little bit down, you don't post videos for a while, and then all of a sudden, the voice comes back, the energy comes back, the flow comes back, the news comes flooding in, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? These guys don't just need a Leicester preview, which will be out after this. They need a video talking about Harry Kane. And I'm going to try and justify in as many realistic ways as possible as to why this would A, be the dream signing, but B, probably one of the most improbable transfers in transfer history. However, improbable is a word that Marina Granovskaya and Roman Abramovich might just listen to and be like, that sounds like a recipe for a little bit of magic and a little bit of fun. Before we get into anything though, I do want to remind you that tonight is Leicester at home, a massive final in the Premier League, and GBFC Selects, as always, a link in the description. There's £1,000 to be won. We've also got a £5 entry prize draw for an Xbox X and a couple of other prizes as well, including Chelsea shirts. So make sure you're signed up and entered in order to be in with a chance of winning. Pretty simple stuff, 10 questions, you get the most points, you win the dollar. But anyway, let's talk a little bit first of all about Chelsea's current striker predicament. And I say predicament because even though Timo Werner was a big money signing, his goals and assists tally this season, he's the top contributing goal scorer at Chelsea Football Club this season across all competitions. Timo Werner has made it pretty clear finishing might not well be his best asset. The runs in behind and stuff, I'm seeing a lot of people now get pretty sarcastic when they're seeing people slate Timo Werner for missing stuff, but it's like, oh, but he still makes the runs, and surely any striker can do that. And at this moment in time, I'll try and give my conclusive view on all of the strikers at Chelsea right now and why I think that a signing of Harry Kane's calibre is 100% necessary for Chelsea Football Club. The issue with Timo Werner is I don't think he's anywhere near clinical enough across the entirety of this season for me to be confident that he's actually the man that Chelsea need to be that 25-30 league goal a season striker, so that we go from being a team who is currently about tonight to play for a match to finish in the top 4, and in a year's time we need a man who's going to score 25 goals a season for us to be sitting here in match week 37 saying, we win tonight, we could win the league. That's the big difference. Tammy Abraham. Unfortunately for Tammy, I feel so incredibly sorry for this guy. Thomas Tuchel's come in. He had a couple of poor games when Tuchel first started, when he gave Tammy opportunities, and then he can't even make the bench for the FA Cup final when he's the club's top scorer in that competition this season. My view on this, first of all, is that it's incredibly unfair and disrespectful to Tammy Abraham, because at the end of the day, you're going to put 2 left-backs on the bench but leave a goal scorer completely out of the squad without even the possibility of coming on to change the game. I cannot understand that one bit, but it is proof that Thomas Tuchel doesn't rate Tammy Abraham highly enough. So for that reason, I fully expect Tammy Abraham to leave in the summer. Olivier Giroud has come out in many uncertain terms, but been pretty clear that he's going to also be leaving Chelsea Football Club in the summer for a move to get himself more first-team football. The cat is about to climb the tree behind me, so if I keep looking round, it's not because there's a snake or a spider, it's because the flipping cat wants to be a monkey. So, long story short, Chelsea are going to be left with Timo Werner as their striking options. Batshuayi's been out on loan 500 bloody times. He's not coming back to be in the Chelsea squad anytime soon, so it leaves Chelsea desperately in need of a striker. I know a lot of you that follow the youth football at Chelsea will say, what about Brozier? Brozier's not going to come back from Vitesse and suddenly become a 30-goal-a-season striker. As good as he might be for the future, and I think Chelsea are offering him a new deal, it leaves us in need of spending some cash on a goal scorer. So, this isn't to say that I write Timo Werner off, and I also personally don't write off Tammy Abraham. I just totally understand that, especially after the weekend, he's not going to see his future at Chelsea, so he's probably going to push for a move away from the club. And I don't think with Tuchel as the manager, he will reassure him of enough minutes for him to want to stay. So, that leaves the news that Tottenham Hotspur striker Harry Kane, one of the most prolific Premier League goal scorers ever, has said, correctly so, in my opinion, that he wants to leave Spurs this summer. Now, Harry Kane wanting to leave Tottenham isn't a massive surprise. As much as I like to sit here on GBFC, Twitter, Instagram, and even in my sleep, joking about how Tottenham Hotspur don't win anything, it's a bit of a joke, that joke is also on the shoulders of a man who is far too good to be in a team who are challenging to finish 6th in the Premier League and never lifting a single trophy. Tottenham have not won anything, yet Harry Kane, ever since he broke into that team, has been beyond prolific. He is such an incredible striker with goal scoring. But Harry Kane's game is more than just goal scoring. He comes back, he helps defensively. His work rate for the team is almost unrivaled in world football in terms of how good and how important he is to whichever side he's playing in, be it Spurs or England. So, Harry Kane coming out to leave doesn't surprise anybody. Football pundits all over the world have been talking about how, for the last couple of seasons, we know how it works at Spurs. We know that they are the kings of the water bottle. They don't like to win things. They can't win things. So therefore, Harry Kane is too good of a player to only have personal accolades to his name come the end of his career. Now, even though it's a little bit ironic, having spoken about how Chelsea don't have the minerals to win finals, or at least that's how it seems at this moment in time, at least Chelsea are regularly competing in finals. Be it if we're in the Europa League, we always bloody win the thing. We're in a Champions League final now. We've got to 4 FA Cup finals in the past 5 years. That is the kind of calibre of football match that Harry Kane belongs in. That is the kind of team that Harry Kane deserves to be in. Now, Chelsea haven't won a trophy for a couple of years, granted, but at least if he moves to Chelsea, which I'll go into whether it's actually going to happen or not in a moment because I don't think it is, but moving to a team like Chelsea is a genuine stepping stone that Harry Kane needs to make in his career. I also think with how important he is for England, it is definitely a favourable choice for him to stay in England, playing Premier League football. He's also got Alan Shearer's record that he is chasing down pretty quickly, and if he does stay in the Premier League, he will certainly become, apart from whether if injuries decide to ruin his career, which he is very injury prone, but I don't think it's going to be that point, Harry Kane will break the record as being the all-time leading Premier League goal scorer. Now, you guys are all wondering, is it actually possible for Harry Kane to sign for Chelsea? I believe financially, Chelsea are one of the clubs who could actually pull this off. However, Tottenham Hotspur, despite the huge sum of money that they could bring in for Harry Kane this summer, will be beyond reluctant, if not completely in denial, of selling Harry Kane to Chelsea. Spurs fans will turn around and say, yeah, Chelsea aren't our biggest rivals, they're obsessed with us, it's Arsenal we care about. But at the same time, Daniel Levy is a man who understands that his club, he wants them to be challenging for the Premier League, for the Champions League, for FA Cups, which they just don't do. And Chelsea are realistically one of the only clubs who are directly where Tottenham want to be. Arsenal are a club that have been in decline for a long time. Yes, they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final last season, but Daniel Levy will see Chelsea as a club that Spurs want to be at in terms of what they're actually trying to fight for and achieve on a season-by-season basis. So for that reason, Chelsea will not be able to sign Harry Kane. I think if he was to go to Chelsea, it would be an extra 50-60 million on top of what it would be if he was to go to Manchester United or Manchester City. And I think realistically, Harry Kane coming out and saying that he wants to leave Spurs and he will leave Spurs this summer, the door is pretty much open beyond wideness for him to sign for Manchester City, which could be a bonus for Chelsea if they wanted to go for someone like Erling Haaland. But having seen Dortmund now qualify for the Champions League, they're pretty adamant that Haaland isn't going to be leaving this summer. He's not for sale, which means that Chelsea would either have to wait a season to potentially trigger that Haaland release clause and sign him next year, but it would also leave us relying on Timo Werner to deliver the goods next season, which I personally believe, as of right now, he couldn't do it. And he's a good player in his own right, but his finishing is not enough. And after 36 league games and a final where he blazes all of his shots over the crossbar, I would be lying to you if I could sit here and say with full confidence that Timo Werner can go from this season into a 25-30 goal striker in the Premier League next season. I don't believe it, and I think Chelsea will need to go in for somebody this summer, but Harry Kane, I think, is totally off the grid. I don't see this one being possible whatsoever. However, as I said at the beginning, improbable and impossible are two words that I think will make the lips of Roman Abramovich and Marina Granovskaya tingle as if they have eaten the spiciest habanero possible. So who knows? If they can pull this one out of the hat, it would be the dream signing. As much as we might, you know, say Harry Kane, he spits when he talks when we go to the lane or when we're at the bridge and he's there, he is an absolutely incredible striker. And if he was to wear the blue Chelsea shirt, it would be an absolute dream. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. If you have any ideas as to why you think this could work, there's obviously, he's in London, probably wants to stay in London. There is that argument and debate. The cat is licking my toes. What are you doing, bro? But realistically, I don't see this one coming through. Thank you guys for watching. I'm not going to take up any more of your time now because I'm going to try and take a bit more of your time in a couple of hours' time when I release the Leicester City preview. And it's a massive game, so there's a lot to talk about for this one, particularly after we saw Chelsea get beaten at Wembley on Saturday. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about Harry Kane, and I'll catch you guys later. Come on, you Blues.